Hi, and welcome to episode 97 of Structure and Flow, the productivity podcast for creative entrepreneurs.
Not the Path to Profit podcast.
We're proud of that, and we've transitioned, and it's still taking me a while to not say that at the beginning of the episode.
We're just being pretty silly over here today. I think this is take 96.
Something like that. We had some microphone issues, part of which was not having them turned on.
And some complaints about the fact that he got all dressed up and I'm wearing my hoodie. So I had to take the hoodie off.
That's right.
You know, when you work with your spouse, all kinds of things happen.
Yes, sexual harassment in the workplace.
Especially when we're standing so close together.
That's right. That's right.
Okay, ready to focus?
I'm Brad Dobson. This is my wife, Dr. Minette Riordan.
Hey, everybody.
And what are we talking about today?
And then I'm having a frog in my throat. So you tell them and I'm going to clear my throat.
We are on to episode number 3 of Unique Productivity Styles. Today we're going to talk about the Conductor. And I will start with a quote while Minette's clearing her throat. And this is from Peter F. Drucker. Until we can manage time, we can manage nothing.
Until we can manage time, we can manage nothing. And I selected this quote today, especially for the Conductor, because I think it's super appropriate for where we're going. But before we tell everybody about the Conductor, I think we want to tell you what the heck are we talking about when we say the Conductor. So if you're just diving into the Structure and Flow podcast for the very first time and stumbled across this episode, we have a 4-part series on your unique productivity style. We are super passionate about productivity. And this is the 3rd one. In the first one, we talked about the commander, which is me.
That's her.
Totally me. So good at big picture thinking, not always great at implementation. And we need we need our contemplators, but sometimes we drive them crazy. Brad's the contemplator.
I'm the contemplator, and there are only good things to say about the contemplator.
And if you really believe that, go back and listen to episode number 96. It's so not true.
Contemplators are the best people in the world.
So each of the 4 unique productivity styles has their gifts and their challenges. So if you think you might be the commander or the contemplator, go back and listen. If you think you might be the creator, then you'll want to stay tuned and dial in next week for the 4th in our 4-part series.
You bet.
So let's talk about the awesome, brilliant, beautiful Conductor.
We attract a lot of conductors.
We do, a lot.
They're mentors.
They are mentors. They're people in a really beautiful way. Like they're really great at serving people. They're called to be community builders and leaders kind of from behind in a way where they bring people together. Their incredible gift is helping other people to shine and seeing their own brilliance. But when it comes to productivity, this can create a few challenges.
Definitely. Let's see. What do we got? They're too focused on other people and not focused enough on themselves. So they don't tend to have boundaries around their own time. They don't schedule time for themselves.
It's so true. I hear over and over again from conductors that I don't know how to make time for my own projects. And I would say pretty much all of us have passion projects or hobbies or things that interest us or things that we think we might like to create or build in the future. And conductors are the ones that struggle the most with making themselves a priority and really claiming time in their own calendars for their work that's most important. In fact, I did some of this when I first started my publishing company in 2002. Gosh, hard to believe it was that long ago. I'm getting old.
Wow.
And I gave away a lot of time. I did a lot of volunteering. I joined our local Chamber of Commerce. I ended up running a few networking groups. And I spent a lot of time serving others to the detriment of growing my business. I didn't make my own business a priority. Did I get benefit from participating and volunteering in all those groups? Not to mention, we had 2 little kids who were 3 and 1.
Yeah.
And I was volunteering in schools and all that kind of stuff. So I made myself crazy by really tapping into my conductor energy. And I believe that all of us have gifts and strengths that we can flow from each of the 4 productivity styles. But conductor, our biggest challenge, your biggest challenge, is putting boundaries around your time and really valuing your time.
Yeah, definitely. I love this other note Minette's got here about conductors as creatives, and that they're not always great at getting their own work done or making time for their own creative projects. In fact, you often spend more time dreaming about uninterrupted creative time than actually making it happen. maybe not that effective.
And you like that because that's you too?
No. No.
So I'm thinking about the musician part of you, and
maybe some untapped dreams there.
Some untapped dreams. I think we all have untapped dreams, and we tend to make other things a priority. And for the conductor in particular, this can flow from our need to be of service to others, but it can also flow from issues around self-esteem and confidence, not believing that our own work matters. And I would say to you that your work matters. The world needs what it is that you have to offer. And that the more that you make yourself a priority and show up to do your most important work, the more you get to be of service to others. I think that so often when we give and overgive of our own time, we end up feeling like a completely empty well, and you cannot give from an empty well.
Yeah. I think moving on, I think conductors also have a problem, one of these problem gift type of things with leadership.
Mm-hmm.
They create a wonderful office environment where everything's harmonious, where they believe everything's harmonious and peaceful and free of conflict. But as anyone who's an adult that's listening to this podcast knows, there is no interpersonal stuff without conflict. It just always exists. And a conductor, a mentor is perhaps more conflict avoidant.
Yeah, and being conflict avoidant isn't necessarily a good thing. It actually creates that subterfuge or underwhelming sense of, I can't speak up here, right? Like you try so hard to make everything be peaceful,
Right.
that you also don't create freedom for people to speak out and really ask for what they need or say what's not working from them. And the other thing that I know about conductors, and as I'm reading, what I wrote here, it reminds me of what Gretchen Rubin had to say about.
We like Gretchen Rubin.
We do. In her book, The Four Tendencies and Better Than Before are both incredible books. And which type was I in her Four Tendencies? The O one. What was it? Do you remember what it was called?
You got me on the spot.
I have to go back, or it'll come to me. It's not the objectioner. It's
I was a questioner.
He's a questioner, and I'm the one that's the people pleaser. It's the conductor part of me. And so what benefits you as the conductor the most when it comes to productivity is actually having people around you to hold you accountable, because we tend to get so focused and lost in serving others that we need people around us. And that could be a spouse, a partner, a girlfriend, a parent, to hold you accountable to what you say you want to create. So when it comes to running a business or starting a weight loss program, right? Whichever direction that you might be going, or running an Ironman like Brad's about to do in just a couple of months. Not even a couple of months at this point.
We're at 8 weeks out now.
8 weeks out at the recording of this. So having accountability partners and support in your life is really important. You need people to mirror back to you when you're overgiving and when you're wearing yourself out because you're not making clear boundaries around your time. And it's hard to do at first. It's hard to ask for accountability and support. It's really challenging to stop being the yes person, that every time someone asks you to do something, you automatically say yes. So I would invite you to practice what Maria Shriver just wrote a great article about in Spirituality and Health called The Powerful Pause. And before you answer someone's request for aid or support, or especially for your time, I invite you to pause, take a deep breath, and think about your answer before you speak. Conductors are trained and internally wired to say yes, and it's time to practice saying no.
Ooh, that's going to be a tough one for a lot of people, I think.
It is really tough. It was tough for me. I think it was one of the things that I learned from running our last business was how not to say yes to everything, and that it was okay, that it didn't make me selfish, a bad person, or bitchy to say no when someone asked me to volunteer my time.
Mm-hmm. So let's uplift this a little bit. Don't forget that as a conductor, as a mentor type, you're the awesome people that
make the world go round.
Make the world go round. Keep us all together, and don't forget that, because the other types don't necessarily have that or bring that to the table. We talked about the commander who bulldozes through people, or the contemplator who's off in his head somewhere. You're the people that are actually bringing the room together with that cohesion and love and peace, which is great.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Sorry.
we're being distracted by our cat.
It's been super windy here in Santa Barbara, and she just gets so crazy. And it's spring. I swear she has spring fever, and she's just meowing non-stop. She's very verbal anyway, but we can hear her in the background, and it's distracting in the moment. But so let's share, Brad, just to quickly, some opportunities for growth when it comes to productivity and the conductor.
Yeah. Set clear personal and professional boundaries around your time. Put some thought into that. Look at where you're not doing that, and what can you do using your calendar, using your interpersonal relationships, just talking with people. How can you set those boundaries?
That's such a great one. And it is a practice. It is an art. In fact, I was talking about this with a couple of moms recently at an event. I don't even remember where I was. And we were sort of talking about that conversation of when you come home from work and you're tired, if you work outside of your home and you come home and you just need 15 minutes to yourself. Oh, it was at my meetup group. That's where it was. Right. And we were talking about productivity, and you need some transition time before you're ready to just dive right back into the family, because it's so easy as a conductor, and this is male or female, this is not necessarily men or women, but as the conductor, you literally walk into the house, you put your stuff down, and suddenly the kids are there, the noisy cat is there, the needy spouse is there, and everybody wants your time and attention.
Wait, why did you say needy spouse?
Yeah,
You're talking about somebody else, aren't you?
No, you're the needy spouse. I'm the one who needs the transition time. So don't be afraid to ask for it, and it's just a practice. And one of the ways that you can do that that's kind of simple and effective, sit in your car for 15 minutes or
that's hilarious.
Take a walk up and down the street for 15 minutes before you come in the house, or stop at a park on your way home and give yourself that transition time. This is just, and let everybody know what you're doing so no one's worried about you if you're running late, but it's just that way of that mindful pause, the powerful pause to give yourself time to connect. And then the other strategy that Brad and I love to talk about, and we both use and are getting, I think, better at using, is time blocks. And you want to talk about time blocks?
Yeah, definitely. We're going to talk about that quite a bit more in a upcoming episode.
Episode number 99.
But this is a great one for reclaiming your creative time, because you might not necessarily be, like we talked about before, maybe you're dreaming about your creative time, but you're not actually taking it. You're not actually doing it. And so it's fun to think about creative time. I'm good at that, but actually doing it, working your creative muscle is something that will move you forward in a myriad of different ways.
Yeah. And conductors, you need to manage your to-do list. Like, you love your to-do list more than any of the other 3 productivity styles. And you're really good at making long to-do lists that completely overwhelm you. So I would be managing your to-do list and make sure that the things on your to-do list really matter to you and they're getting transferred to your calendar so that they actually happen. And then the next thing, as you're working on time blocking and boundaries, you have to ask for support. Conductors are so good at serving others, but you need support as well. So surround yourself with either a team, if you own a business, or just loyal supporters. That could be a girlfriend, a parent,
involve other people,
your kids. Ask for help, right? Ask for people to keep you on track. We talked about accountability earlier. This doesn't have to be a formal or paid thing. It can be very informal. Create a small mastermind group of 3 to 4 people that will support you in staying on track and getting your most important work done.
Yeah. And I think finally, big one here is to get help in your personal life with details like housekeeping or gardening or, other things that you're not necessarily interested in doing, whether you can outsource those to a paid thing or a spouse or one of your slave labor children. But get that help and ask for help. They'll support you because they know that that's all you're about, is supporting them. They're more than willing to give that back to you.
It's so true. And it can feel like a huge stretch to have a housekeeper come in just once a month. But I would invite you to look at your budget and look at how much you're spending on eating out or Starbucks or your cable, right? Or for us, Netflix and Amazon Prime, right? So we all have these. So I made you choke on your coffee, but you get to make decisions about where the best use of your time is. I realized I don't love to garden, right? That it's not my favorite thing. I love having a beautiful garden, but the weeds were taking over. So we have a gardener come in just to keep everything clean, and it doesn't cost very much money. You'd be surprised how much help you can get without feeling like you're going broke. And so for the conductor, it's about setting your priorities and deciding what's most important and where you want to spend your time. Because when, as Peter Drucker says, you manage your time and you really take back your time, your life will flourish. You will stop feeling so busy and overwhelmed all the time, and you'll start to feel more productive by zeroing in on where's the best use of your time in service to yourself and to those that you feel deeply called to serve.
So to sum up, conductors, you're awesome. You
are
make the world go
awesome.
around, and you're loving. Ask for some help and get yourself some creative time and set some boundaries.
Absolutely.
If you're not a conductor, or maybe not a commander or a contemplator, next week we're going to talk about the creator.
The creator.
And we all have some creator in ourselves,
yeah.
but people that are fully engaged as creators are
from a productivity perspective.
They have a whole other set of gifts and challenges and things they can work on.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about that next week.
And remember to listen to all four, because we're all a blend, right? We're all a blend. But if you want to really find out,
you can take the quiz yourself.
Yep.
It's at pathtoprofitacademy.com/UPS quiz. UPS like the postal service, like the parcel service. UPS quiz. We'll have that in the show notes. And go ahead, take it. It's just a few questions. And I think the results that you see in the report that we have for you will really help you move forward in your productivity unique to your style.
Yep, absolutely. Great. And again, that's pathtoprofitacademy.com/UPS quiz. And we'd love your feedback. It's a new quiz. We're still working out the kinks. So if it resonates with you, shoot us an email and let us know. We'd love to hear from you.
Love you guys. Bye.